Hello. Um, so this is my 1992 Camaro. I originally had a 350 small block in here. It originally had a V6, but now I have a 350. Well, had a 350, then the head cracked on the 350, and I was hooked to a T5, and the T5 did just fine. Well, after that, head cracked and was leaking oil all over the place. I didn't feel like fixing it, putting money into an engine that just didn't really have the horsepower I desired. So I got rid of it. I sold it and car sat for a month or two, and I didn't know what I wanted to put in it. I knew I wanted to go more modern with some more modern power. And this is what I came up with. I found a 2016, an engine out of a 2016 Silverado. So this is the L83. This is the 5.3 liter direct injected 5.3 liter direct injected engine. Yeah, it's V8, so that's what it means. It's been a lot of work to mount this thing in here. To get this thing in here and get it all working right. So I'll give you a small detail about how it went. So originally the L83 comes with the truck manifold. It didn't really clear, so to solve clearance issues, I found a stock intake manifold from a 2016 Camaro with the 6.2 liter, and yes, this stuff is interchangeable. So this and the water pump are all interchangeable between the two. Even the camshafts, they're interchangeable. Like there's no difference in length or anything like that. The only thing you can't interchange is the heads, and that's okay, whatever. But I got that, and I also got the 87 millimeter throttle body from Ford as well. But the rest is all from the 2016 Silverado. So alternator hooked up, wired into the ECU. Here's the ECU. I'll go over that here in a little bit. But it's wired in. It goes over here to the stock little junction box right here. Here is how I have my belts routed. This took some finagling to figure out, but that is how I have my belts routed. Stock, the belt kind of runs across the throttle body, and to solve it, I purchased this, drilled and tapped a hole in it, and well, guess what? Works just fine now. Works just fine. Plenty of space, as you can see. Like, I have a lot of play. Like that's a lot of play. Finding the belt was a pain. I can go over that. But what really made this swap possible were these engine mounts right here. Well, those are the LT swap mounts from Dirty Dingo, and they are amazing. They are a lifesaver. For the power steering, this is a power steering pump from a 2001 Corvette with a 5.7 liter LS, and then I plumbed it with a -6 PTFE hose that's going into my power steering gearbox. So again, solved. And then I have a remote reservoir that I'm going to be mounting over here. So this hole right here, I took out the battery tray that was right here, and I'm putting in I'm building one that goes a little deeper, so that I can run my air cleaner, my air filter down into here, access to better air, and so forth. Next, we have my radiator. So this is my radiator. It's from Alloy Works. This is a 4-core radiator, and it comes with dual shrouded electric fans, and it comes with the relay and everything, so you can have them on and off. But I'll go into something a little better, how I'm running, to at least have one's going to come on with the car, and then the other one's only going to come on with temperature, so that way they're not both running. This is my homemade ECU mount. Yes, these are battery clamps, but this works perfectly to hold that ECU in here. And then this kind of goes over in here and it sits over here. I'm going to pause the video and I'll set it up for you guys and show you. So I made this in two parts. I made this part that bolts directly to the firewall, and then it bolts to here. And then I have some clamps to keep these wires up out of the way. But then this sits right in here, like here. So this is, I didn't set it up fully. I don't have it all tightened down, but this is how it's gonna look. And the airbox sits right here, and yes, I have plenty of room. Here, I have basically all that space back in here, and that is can't really tell on the video, but it's plenty of room. So got that. I depinned all the. I took out all the stuff I didn't need out of here. I even took out the active fuel management. Well, I haven't taken it out fully, but you see that empty plug right there? That's your active fuel management. If you want to leave it in, leave it in. But otherwise, I just depinned it because I'm not going to be using it, so I took it out. Then I have my alternator wired in, throttle body all wired up. I took all of these apart and then rerouted all the wiring so it would work better. I have wires going under here. I have the this is for the left-hand bank, and so this here, hold on. So this wire right, this group of wires right here is for the left-hand bank, and then this is your left-hand side crankshaft sensor. Yes, it has two. Then there's the starter. It's coming with these nice little heat shields, so it's kind of nice. So your starter, your crankshaft sensor, and yeah, that's it. It's all in there. So next, I put in a catch can too because I was kind of concerned about some of that stuff. I was concerned more about these ports just being open. I didn't want to plug them off. And well, I'll show you kind of how I solved this. So these are my hoses. I took the stock piece plastic ones off. I cut them off, and I put this rubber hose on and mounted it. Runs back behind the intake right there, and then there's the catch can right over there. And then it runs over to this side. Well, then it kind of tees off over here behind the washer motor. And then it goes in to that side, and then the other end is going to be this one right here. This is the other out, and it goes into the catch can over there. And then this hose right here, this hop hose, goes back into the intake manifold. So then you're still getting all the air, and you're still getting ventilation and everything. So next thing I did was, well, yeah, I'll show you this. This is this. And I just plugged where the old throttle cable went, right there. So next thing I did is I got a 4th gen master cylinder right here and put it on the 3rd gen brake booster. Works like a charm. Couldn't be happier. I have some fittings coming, so then these are going to be PTFE lines. These are going to be flexible PTFE lines. So this is my fuel regulator. It goes from let's see, which is the return. So this is I can't remember which one's which, but I have my return and I have my pressure side. This is the pressure side. Yeah. So this right here is the pressure side. Goes in, comes up here, and then goes in to the fuel rail. Yes, you can run it. You don't have to have that that modulating fuel pump, you don't have to run it. I talked to several people and that have actually been actively doing these swaps, and what they told me was, as long as you can run between 65 and 75 psi of fuel, you're gonna be fine, because you have a high pressure fuel pump that's right, basically direct behind here, I mean underneath there on the camshaft, and it pumps the pressure up for the fuel injectors, and that's really all you need. You just need 75 psi that's constant to be supplied, and you won't have any starvation issues or anything like that. And some of the people I was talking to, they were doing it with the LT4s, so those are the supercharged versions of these, and they're no problem at all. So next, here is how the lines run. It comes down, it goes right here, comes up, and then just plugs in here. I just got adapters to plug all this stuff in, and it's been working like a charm so far. I'll give you a little peek on the interior. Oh, back to the fuel real quick. What helped me with the fuel is I tried converting my old fuel pump and hanger all into AN line, but it wasn't working out for me. So what I did is I found on, I think it's Holly's website, I found a fuel pump that is AN ready, that swaps it over to, that fits our tanks, our stock tank, and it fit like a dream. Yeah, it was a little tight of a fit, but it fits, and it's really well built. I recommend you guys check them out. And then you just wire it in like you normally would, and it works like a fucking charm. Like, super awesome. I will also note that at the time of this video, they are now making aftermarket ECUs that are self-learning for these engines. When I bought this and started doing this, they weren't doing that, and you would have to send in your harness and have someone build you a new one. But if you want to save costs, you can do all this. All this stuff is found on the third gen forum, and that's how I did it. I just followed the schematics, figured out what I didn't need, what I wanted to keep, and ta-da! So we'll go inside the car too. So for the dash, I swapped it over to a Dakota Digital dash, and on Hawk's third gen, he actually now has a dash that's it's digital. It's made by Dakota Digital, but it's the replica for the car. And I was gonna purchase it, but then I purchased this one because I liked this look better. It just looked a little bit more modern to me. I mounted the little junction box thing for the dash literally right underneath the dash. It works. And then I mount the other module that talks to the dash to the ECU. It's mounted on the it's going to be mounted on this little Y bracket, this little V bracket that's mounted to the steering column. That's where it's mounted at. And then this talks to that stuff, and yada yada yada. And then that's where I put the little button for the dash, and it just goes over here. Kind of looks okay. It doesn't look that bad. So next, for the transmission, I kept reverse lockout. So here's my reverse lockout switch, and I did it this way so I wouldn't forget so I don't have to rely on having a brake pedal to turn it on or off. This way I can just turn it on and off as I need to, and if it stops working, I know where it's not working at. I don't have to crawl underneath the dash and do it. I can just pop this out, switch it, good to go. I went with a Pro 5.0 shifter. I'm making my own lower boot for this. My hole, it's not the prettiest, but this I had to make do. I refoamed all of this with just door foam, and it sealed it up really well. I was really pleased with how well it sealed up. Next, here is my pedal. I went with a drive-by-wire pedal. This pedal is from a 2016 Camaro, and this adapts this pedal to the 3rd gen firewalls. You could probably make something yourself if you want to, but this, I don't have the resources to make this kind of stuff, so that's kind of what it looks like. So in case you're wondering, if you want to make your own, which by all means do it, save cost where you can. Then I have my clutch and all that fun stuff back up in here. Went through the wiring on all that, took all stuff out that I don't need there. New flashers here and there. Yeah, I don't know what else I can show you guys, but this is kind of what it is, and it's turning into it's gonna be cool. I've gotten this thing to fire up once. I didn't let it run long because I didn't have any fluid in the transmission. Shouldn't have done it, but I got it to pop over, and then I shut it off real quick. So, yeah, well, transmission wasn't really engaged to the engine anyway, so it didn't really matter. That was a whole ordeal. That was awful. I should have taken pictures of that. But basically, if you take the LST56, you can have that input, and this is what I would recommend, have the input shaft machined down. If you talk to some of these, I did mine through Texas Drivetrain Performance, and he was, as I was talking with him, he said I should have just brought the shaft in, and then he could have just trimmed it down for me, because he's been experimenting with them, with mounting the T56 to these engines, and he was really intrigued by mine, and he gave me one hell of a deal. And he got it. He rebuilt this T56 I found for $750 over in Dallas, and I took it to him, had it rebuilt. I mean, I was going to rebuild it by myself, but I wanted a professional to do it, someone that really had the tools to do it, and he did it. Fucking great job. Loved it. It turned out real good. Oh, another thing. I was able to find this little piece right here. So this connector, so you see this red piece right here. Sorry, my hand's in the way. So there's this red piece, and then this connector, it plugs into the back. So then this allows you to run your vacuum for your brake booster. Ta-da! Yeah, there's that. Next thing that I want to talk about are headers. Don't go short tube with this engine. The dyno results that you can, and this is just running from no accessories, the stock intake manifold, the stock truck intake manifold, E85 gas, long tube headers. In a good tune, these engines at the crank make about 500. I was blown away. So you're getting high horsepower for really cheap and really easy. That's why I decided to go with this instead of building up my small block. I figured this is more close to what I want. I only want a fun car that I can drive daily, and if I want to whip it around, I can whip it around. But back to the headers. So these are my long tube headers I got from, who would I get them from? Engine Swap Supply. That's where I got these things from. I got these things from Engine Swap Supply. They don't have headers for these cars yet. They're working on it. But I was kind of impatient, and I should have waited. Should wait a little longer, but I decided to buy them because I want my car running. So this is the driver's side one. It fits. You might have to heat up one of these tubes right here and knock it in to clear the crankshaft sensor. Because I put the heat shields back on that stuff because I want to make this stuff last. The passenger side one doesn't quite fit. So it goes straight out. What needs to happen is it needs to come in like that and follow the frame. And then it would fit perfectly. So I'm just going to wind up taking those headers and having a custom exhaust built for it. And I'm gonna run the stock exhaust muffler on the back underneath the fuel tank, because I think that's what will work best. I'm probably gonna do a 4-inch exhaust if I can, because I've heard how it sounds. I think it sounds awesome. And then another thing, because I still have the stock V6 springs on here, because the V6 and the V8 springs were no different. They were the same part number. GM used the same part number for them, so I never swapped them out. No joke. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put the wheel back on the other side. See how much clearance I have right here. As of now, I'm going to drop it down, and you're going to be astonished at how much clearance there is still. So, the wheel is back on. I'm going to drop this thing down and watch the gap between the wheel well. A little hard, but yeah, see, it didn't go down much. And it is all the way on the ground. So that is something you need to consider. I'm going to run this over into coilovers, because I think that the adjustability, I'm going to do coilovers on all 4 corners because I want some adjustability. I've done a lot of work with this car. Might as well give it coilovers. Figured out, basically you just need to have another plate that's like this underneath, and that way it just provides a lot of stability for this sheet metal. Talked to some people that created coilovers for these cars, and that's what they were telling me. And they autocross these cars and had no problem with it. So I hope this gives you a little bit of an idea. If you have any questions, just post a comment, and I'll get back to you when I see it. I'm not on here often, but I do like to kind of document this and show you what's going on. So everyone have a good night and Merry Christmas.